Following the need for recertification and input from stakeholders, a handful of course modifications will be part of the 12th annual Platte Valley Company's Monument Marathon this year. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, changes for the upcoming Monument Marathon were among a variety of topics discussed in a kickoff news conference in Scottsbluff with organizers, sponsors, and a panel of past participants. Race coordinator and Western Nebraska Community College Foundation Director Jennifer Reisig discussed some of those changes impacting the half marathon, which will start at the same location as in years past.
The first change that those half marathoners are going to see is that when they turn onto the canal road, the full marathoners will turn with them. Previously, the full marathoners continued straight. We felt that this was an important shift because by keeping both of the routes the same for the last 13 miles, we are giving consistent support to the runners in both the half and the full. There's no room for error at that corner. All those runners are together.
Reisig also thanked Platte Valley Companies and President Hod Kosman for the company's continued support since the inception of the marathon and increasing their contribution towards prize purses starting in 2020 that helps offer something for runners of every ability level. More than 120 registrations for the race as of the end of May, with runners from across the U.S. along with 4 other countries. Runners and volunteers can sign up by going to monumentmarathon.com. Well, the annual Rural Radio Drive-Thru Barbecue for Camp Scott was held last Friday, a drive-thru lunch that was served up with a hamburger or hot dog, chips, runs a cookie, and a drink for only a $5 donation. More than $1,200 was collected during the 2-hour event to help with the expenses for Camp Scott. Camp Scott Director Renee Berry told KNEB News how the donations will be used.
We'll help with operating expenses, mostly salaries, because we have to have people with experience and dedication and love for these kids to work with them day in and day out all year long and then come to camp and work another month with them.
Rural Radio Promotions Director Kendra Feather said, despite the threat of rain, it turned out to be a very successful event for the kids attending Camp Scott.
You know, the morning we were kind of nervous. I thought we were going to get rained out or the wind was going to blow us out. And I think we've raised in the last few years at least around $10,000 for Camp Scott, which we're really proud of.
There were also generous area businesses and organizations that help support the annual barbecue, either by donating supplies or help supporting going through the drive-thru with their employees. We'll have more news right after this.
Swipe right, swipe left, endlessly searching. Finding the perfect match isn't always perfect, but it can be when it comes to finances. Nora found the perfect business loan. Jenny opened her first savings account. Grammy loves her checking account. We found a match for Wilson Farms. The Sandersons were matched with a mortgage. Regardless of your financial situation, Platte Valley Bank will match you with the perfect solution. Find your match at Platte Valley Bank.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. A Scottsbluff man who was arrested as part of a shots-fired investigation last year near the Landers Soccer Complex will not be standing trial. Last week, Anselmo Fuentes pleaded no contest to charges of distribution of marijuana and felon in possession of a firearm. Fuentes and others were arrested last July after authorities found a 9mm handgun thrown from a vehicle, as well as more than 1 pound of marijuana. He'll face a mandatory minimum of at least 3 years in prison, and also agrees to waive any claim to the nearly $4,000 cash that was found in the vehicle. Sentencing has been set for July 20th with District Judge Leo Dobrovolny. And summer fun is in full swing across Nebraska, but as people enjoy recreation areas across the state, troopers will be partnering with local agencies and game and parks officers to keep Nebraska state recreation areas safe throughout the summer months. Whether you're boating, swimming, fishing, or enjoying the beaches, patrons are asked to do so safely and follow the laws and guidelines for your rec area. Over the Memorial Day weekend, troopers performed high visibility patrols in the areas around Lake McConaughey and the Harlan County Reservoir. Additional campaigns will take place at highly trafficked recreation areas throughout the summer. And a Nebraska Legislature Transportation and Telecommunications Committee cleanup bill that includes a provision to remove the state's helmet law for riders aged 21 and older passed the final round of debate this week. LB 138 is an annual cleanup measure to align state transportation law with federal requirements and includes provisions which allows an individual aged 21 and older who has completed a certified motorcycle safety course to choose whether or not to wear a helmet, provided the rider uses protective eye equipment. It also includes provisions of Gordon Senator Tom Brewer's LB 199 to create a new driving privilege card to serve as a license to operate a motor vehicle for individuals who are assigned parolee immigration status by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The bill passed 41-0 and takes effect immediately.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Jacob Roth here on the Rural Radio Network, and it's time for Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank. This year we're staying right here in Dawson County. I'm talking with Don Beatty. He's a fourth-generational farmer celebrating his 150th year of his family's homestead this year, as well as a whole lot of on-farm research. So Don, what has it all led to just kind of still being here 150 years long into the family?
I feel extremely fortunate. My great-grandparents immigrated from England, homesteaded a half-mile south in April 26, 1873. And that was right when Plum Creek, now Lexington, was being founded. And so they were some of the original homesteaders of the area. So we feel very fortunate. We love the community and wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Absolutely. And you talked about it a little bit. Your family doesn't exactly have a traditional farm inheritance path, for lack of a better term. What has kind of been the path as from the farm getting from that homesteading to you now?
My great-grandparents had 5 children, and their second youngest, who happened to be a girl, was the one who stayed on the farm. And then she and her husband had 10 children. The youngest was my dad, who stayed on the farm. My parents had 5 children. I'm the youngest, and I'm the one who stayed on the farm. And then I'll be retiring in a few years, and I have 2 daughters who are going to take over the farm. So we don't do the traditional oldest son gets the farm bit. We basically, our motto has always been whoever wants to farm is the one who should be farming.
Research was kind of our big thing. What kind of got you into the research kind of realm of things? Because it's kind of not a thing that every farmer necessarily ever goes down that route when they're going through their day-to-day business.
I got into the research side somewhat by accident, and also I guess I was brought up that way. My dad was always an innovator. He always thought if you didn't try something new, you were going backwards. And so every year he tried doing something different, something new, trying things out to improve how we farm. Because as we both know, technology is changing, all the things are changing, but you need to have a way of evaluating whether these are good changes or bad. And so about 6 years ago, I was visiting with some University of Nebraska Extension personnel about their on-farm research. And we had a new crop production specialist in Dawson County, Sarah Sivitz. And she convinced me to try doing an on-farm research project with her. So I said, okay, I'll do one the first year. Well, before we got to planting, 1 became 3. The next year was 5. The next year was 7. You can see where the trend was going. And we've been running between 4 and this year we have 8, which is the most I've ever had. But we run at least 4 every year. And part of it is I've done some research, thought and reading a lot. A lot of the Fortune 500 companies, they spend 5 to 10% of their budget on research. And I really think farmers should be investing 5 to 10% of their acres in research. Just because what works on my farm may or may not work on your farm. And what works in Lincoln won't necessarily work here. So that's why I like to use the on-farm research, which gets the expertise of some of the university extension crop specialists, but it's done on my farm using my equipment with my ideas.
Yeah, and research is such a wide kind of swath of what that all is. What are some of the projects that you got going on this year?
Most of this year's research projects are all involved with fertilizer or fertility. We have some 3 different nitrogen management studies going on. One, we have a satellite-based nitrogen study on wheat. We have a satellite nitrogen-based study on corn. And we have a fertilizer, a model, a crop model, who actually, we're testing a model on predicting how much fertilizer to put on the crops. I'm doing some soil or some amendments like Pivot Bio. We're doing studies with that. And then a few other non-traditional, you might call them, products. I'm also doing some other things like, I have a corn population study just to see what the optimum population for corn is.
Perfect. And again, that was Don Beatty, this week's Fridays in the Fields farmer. We'll be following him throughout the year as they're celebrating their 150th year on their Dawson County farm ground. I'm Jacob Roth, and this has been Fridays in the Fields, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees, and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gering.
Let's take a peek at your weekend community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you plan for tomorrow while you enjoy today. Our personalized trust services can help you do just that. You've worked hard to build your legacy, and you want to make sure that gets passed on for generations to come. We offer the professional guidance necessary to ensure that happens, according to your wishes. We pride ourselves in being friendly and professional while offering a highly tailored full line of trust and estate planning services to accommodate you. You belong here.
And finally tonight, if you're looking for something new and exciting to do this weekend, the Agate Fossil Beds National Monument in Sioux County has a great event going on. Daryl Red Cloud, the great-great-grandson of the legendary Chief Red Cloud of the Lakota tribe, will be erecting 2 hand-painted teepees at Agate Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. Park Superintendent Dan Morford explains what folks can expect.
And all the festivities will start about 9 o'clock and go throughout the day. And I think it's going to be just a great day, a great time for people to come out and enjoy the views, all the rain. We've had lots of green grass around. Plus we get to see teepees traditionally raised. There'll be a blessing over the teepees. And then we'll also have the drummers and the singers. That will be a new, something new that we haven't had before. So I think folks will really enjoy the outing, and really looking forward to Saturday.
Guided tours of the Visitor Center's fossil displays and the James Cook collection of Lakota and Cheyenne artifacts will take place at 2 p.m. Admission is free and no reservations are required.